Okay, so there is a little vav here somewhere. I don't know where it is. I found it. Oh, here. Wait, what is this? Yeah. Okay, the vav is really at the end of number gimel. So it says, Rebbe Yalter Shah, look over there, should be your kind of Fidarko. So here he's explaining the way he talks about this subject is general. This is about breath. Let's call it breath that comes out of Zeranpin. The zivug the nishikin as a result. Now this is Zeranpin making a yichud and nishikin. But the zechav beir kam v'zel l'shana v'zechav akula kulilin b'lishon. So that's our problem. Our problem is this phrase: everything is incorporated in the tongue. So he says, "Call elo ha'chavalim." So all of these, he says, these airs, these vapors that come out, the nafkin besod nishikin that come out as a result of kissing. Now, there's a level of intimacy. I'm not really sure what he's trying to say. He says there's a yichud take place of Yudishikin and Zeranpin. So he said, Vazehu kula kalula belisha. So that yichud really could be explained by the phrase that everything's incorporated into the tongue. Kol eloha havolim. So what havolim are we talking about? The sod nishikin kalula belisha. They're all inside of the tongue. Shahu Sod Hadas, which is the tongue now is Das. So this is our metaphor. He puts it into this particular place. He puts it into the and really he's not really explaining what's going on in the that's what's bothering me of the secret of Nishikin. Exactly how does Nishikin work? So what do we know from that? It has some of this has to do with a I don't know if it's an exchange or a giving of breath. But whatever that is, who sewed Zeranpin? So he says that this is the Das. He says, and the Das itself is Zeranpin, is the secret of Zeranpin. Because I guess it's Panimi to Zeranpin, it manifests Zeranpin. Because Zeranpin, no telos, no telosum, now that's plural. Besod mochim mekifim ad kan ein sham, and that's the number Vav right there. So it would be nice to have some more detail on what's going on in the Yichud and the Shikin. But here he's telling us that it has to do with the transference or something like that, maybe the exchange, I'm not sure, of breath. So he says, and this is triangulated by the tongue. So now we'll go down to number 12, way down below. So let me see if we can. We're going to get this. Okay, let's get closer. There we go. So it says like this, Rebbe Yafashah. So look at the Yafashah, that's where we're at. Shehikdim Kan Vazel Lashona, so he prefaces everything like this. Kula Kalida Belishan, Sasim the Ima, so that's the other part of it, and it's closed up for Ima. Is Pateches Le Denafik Mina. So let's go over the words again. It has something to do with the Pirish Inyan Zehu Masha Kosev Rabbeinu. I skipped something. He says Kula Kalula Belishan Salsim Le'ima, where it's closed up for Ima. And what does he mean? The ha is Patechas because Ima opens up for him, lay the Nafik Mina, because this we're talking about Zeranpin, I guess, comes out from her. Now, since he's talking about breath, and he's talking about the breath that has to do with the breathing of Zeranpin, I don't know how this goes. Let's go a little bit further. Pirish Inyan Zeh, let me explain this. He says, Humasha Kosa Rabbeinu Be'etz Chaim, Sham, and once again, this is in Shartal, Perik Tes. He said, V'zel Lashon of Reim B'habein Ata, so look and understand now. Shebezivuk Atachton, that when you have a yichud, the normal yichud, let's say Atachton, Rishon Mekulim Shuhu Bia Rishayna. So the very first Bia that takes place in the Yichud, that is Yisod, the Yisod. He said Bia Rishayna La Sosa Kli. It makes that first Bia makes the Nuk into a Kli. Now once again, exactly how that happens, so I don't know, because she is receiving that from the Yisod Zeranpin. And as a result of receiving, I guess it makes her into a kli. Just trying to an answer on how it makes her into a kli, but it doesn't say exactly. Came bezivug in the shichin, so that's the yichud elyo. But there's also another yichud that takes place at the mouth. He says the kain bezivug in the shichin harishonim shehoya ba'olam. So the original kissing is the same concept. He said, Nasan HaZachar Miyasod Shalom. So the Zachar places into his Yasod, that is the Yasod HaElyon, Shu HaLoshen Shebepiv. So this is actually the tongue that's in the mouth. Chad Rucha. Let me go over the words again. He places into the Zachar, it flows into his Yasod, let's say, which is the Indian of his tongue, in his mouth, and it places in there one Rucha. The Soch Yisod Shalom HaElyon into the upper Yisod of her, Hanitan Bepi Hanukva, which is placed in the mouth of the Nukva. Now here he seems to be talking about Zer Anpen and Malchus. Okay, so but this is taking place, he says this is also in the mouth. So this original ruach that is placed in, now here ruach is lashon breath, so he said be using before the concept of hevel, use that word. Now he's placing a ruach kadebochel shel osam and the shikin kademoim of those from that original, and this is plural, from those original kisses. Nishar benukva b'tamid sham bisod asher b'piho b'peh yu'un sham. Now I have to read it again because I didn't follow that. So we can get to where it says anita b'piha nukva. So let's say that the hevel that he's talking about, which now he's calling a rucha, is placed into the mouth of the nukva. B'haku rucha kademo, that is the original ruach that comes from this neshikin. So it's very intangible. It's a ruach, and it's taking place in the mouth. So he writes in parenthesis on the bracket, shall osam and neshikin kademoim nishar benukva tamid sham b'yisod asher b'piho. So he says that original exchange remains continuously in the mouth of the nukva as a result of this. So that we find learning from here. That the original kissing that took place between Abba and Ima, now, before I thought that he was talking about, it's a little confusing to me because I thought he was talking about Zachar V'Nok. But over here, let's see his words again. He says, Asher Nimsa Lamad Shanashikin the Rishonim, so the original exchange, Asher Abachoya Bain Abba Be'ima, which actually took place between Abba Be'ima, Hoyasod Haku Ruchel Deshade Begavola Asal Kli. It's the same concept that there's ruach that is being sent into her, makes her into a kli. The kavar noida, so you already understand this. Shakli de ima. Who is the kli of ima? That's their anpin no taloso. So let's his words are. You already know. He says. What's the word? The kavar noda shakli de ima zer anpin no taloso. So he takes her kli. Now, he's saying like this. He says that originally in Abba Ve'ima, there's a yichud that takes place in the Shikin, and he places this rucha inside of her. So now he says, Gavar no, that you already know, Shakli de Ima. Now you have this kli of Ima because if it's placed inside of her, that makes her a receptacle. That's why I'm understanding it. Shakli de Ima anpin not law, so he winds up taking the kli. The baby come on, we're going to try to say, I guess later on, so zivug tachton the ima im abba, which is the lower level of yichud that takes place between abba and ima. So zakena inya bezivug zechaba elyon the shikid. So we have the same thing when we talk about this upper yichud that takes place with the shikid. Now let's go back here. He says again, so just like you have in the lower yichud between Abba and Ima, you have also the upper yichud, which is the yichud of the shiki. Kehalo kol elu hachavalim the nafkim besod neshikim. So once again, now we went to the word havalim here instead of ruchos. He says v'havalim the nafkim besod neshikim. Kulam naasim mekifin the zeranpin. Okay, because they're outside, it's breath. So breath goes outside of the mouth. Now, called palm la'asos kalim chadashim. So what you need to do is what every time there's a kiss is that we talk about. I don't know. Kamosha koster rebbeinu be'etz chaim bepirkei mahem that we said yo'un sham. So we're missing a little bit. He says, let's go back where it says ki halo kol elu hachavalim the nafke besod neshiki. Kulam na'asim mekifin the zeranpen. I don't have a problem for that. It comes like I say it's coming out of the mouth. But Tzarek b'kol pam lasos kalim chadashim. So you constantly have to make new kalim. Now the b'kol pam is what with each kiss. I'm not sure. Kamosha koser Rabbeinu, like Rabbeinu says, prepare kamahain you and sham adkan. So just a little bit more. V'vrei od b'divrei hayafasha. I'm moving the whole on. We're going to see more about this apparently as we go on. So let's go to the next one. Then that was number Gimel, and I guess we're on number Dalet. So number Dalet is going to say like this. It's going to say Ray Bazoar Chai. Look over there. Shabir Kandafi Darko. Now that he explains according to the way he normally does. Whoops! I lost it. What's going on out there? Okay, I don't know exactly where you were, where I lost you. It's just some hints about the topic of Meshikin and Ruchos, that the exchange of that and the Makifin. Let's go to now we're on number Dalit. Number Dalit said, Rebbe Zohar Chai Shabir Khan the Fidarko, he says, Dairi Khan B'kol Chelke Hadas. That is the Das of Abba, the Ima, and the Trin Itrin. Besod Yaku. And this is the secret of these three letters, Yud, K, and Vav. Bebir Khan Maimer Kula Kalilin Belishan Saucing the Ima. So this phrase, saucing the Ima, is a little bit hard to make a simple translation of it. He says the kol chelke radas now because all of the different portions of das. So he says there's four different types of ways you could look at das, Abba V'ima, Abba V'ima, and the Trin Itrin. Nichlala B'Yisod the Nikra Lisha. So it's called, they're all incorporated in Yeshua, which is called Lisha. The Zechah the Shono, and this is what he's saying. Kula Kalila Belisha. Man Umad, he says over there. Once again, it's in Shartal. Ki mitachila mis order the Rabbi Shlosh Rishon is because from the beginning we have in his orders of the Gar. Ba'adam his davig chochma of abina shabarosh al yedecha hadas mezavig u'matziyim atipa halchu min zivug chochma ubina al yedecha bedas. Okay, let's go on. Which is Bina. Shabarosh, that which is in the Rosh. She takes the Tipa. Ki Osias Yak, excuse me, that refers to the two letters Yak. Oz, Yorid and Mispashet, Lamata Batipa, then it spreads. It starts moving downwards, and this arka besod vov, and it becomes longer in the letter vov. We learned this before, I'm not sure. V'kula idbachu b'Yakov, and all of it in these two phrases, Yaakov, you'd understand it. Hatipa kolulu chamin das da abba be'ima shehem yud k. So all of them are incorporated in the das of ima, which is that is the yud k incorporated. Umin das mispashet shehu vav, and then as that das spreads, it becomes a vav. And then they go from that position, they go out to the Nukva. So now they come into Zeranpin, and Zeranpin is born out. The Nishalem is Shem Hashem Dimsa Shepetachila Adam Mizdave Mine Ube Lahotzi Atipo Shalom Mokim Shalom. So he has a yichud within himself, which allows for the moving for of the transfer of the tipa mimochen shalom. Yored the yisod, and after that, now I'm not really sure what he meant by the yichud minei ubei. That bothers me. We had that concept earlier where we saw that is the yichud of Eric Anpen. I saw that. Over here, I don't know exactly. That's the same. This is the same person talking. I'm not sure. And after that, it goes down into Yisod. Then is placed into his wife, the female counterpart, Shalah. And he said, V'oz nosach of the ishto bisod Shalah into her Yisod. Ad kan be'etz chaim, that's what the Eitz Chaim says. Ad kan v'rei od, there's more in that. Let's look at one more. The next one is Rei Bibir Amashulav Piagroa. What's happening here? He says, Shiniz Boyer Lefidarko, Inyan Kula Kalula Belishan, that everything is incorporated in the tongue. The Kol Shlosh Dargos, Chochma Babina Das, all of those levels. Nichlalim Bezer Anpin, they all become a part of Zer Anpin. Hanikwa Lashon Besod Adah. So playing with the word Lashon and why the Rashby wants this to be Lishon. I don't know if it's maybe supposed to be an Aramaicized idea. I don't know. Hanikwa Lashon Besod Das, which is Das. Kizer Anpin Yorish Akol Al Yado. Okay, so I guess we'll stop here just so we can look a little bit more of the Sharkavanos. Today is the 12th, I think, the 12th Sivan. Okay, let me stop that.